Avant de commencer la vidéo, tu peux venir me follow sur Twitch et activer la cloche pour avoir une notification dès que je lance un live. Si la vidéo t'a plu, like et abonne-toi. Voilà le retour. On va prendre un peu de temps pour faire les quêtes secondaires et les quêtes les épisodes Destins. Ok, là on a des matériaux de qualité, par contre faut le reste. Ok. Par contre, en fait, il me l'a rééquipé celle-là, mais c'est pas... Ouais. Ah, il m'a rééquipé celle-là du coup, mais elle est moins bien. Hop là. Et du coup, elle a plus d'attaque. Ah, c'est marrant, elle a des stats de ouf. Ah oui, non, mais oui, c'est l'attaque. Oui, c'est boosté l'attaque. Ouais, mais je perds en étourdissement, ce qui est chiant, quoi. Bon, ouais. Du coup, si elle a des nouveaux trucs. Ok. Ok. Le coffre là, c'est un normal. Sur coffre là-bas en bas.
What's this?
J'essaie de récupérer tout ce qu'il y a ramassé et puis on va... alors ça c'était un clé d'or justement. Donc ouais, juste récupérer ce qu'il y a à récupérer et après on va... continuer l'histoire du coup. Enfin non, on va faire les épisodes Destins et les quêtes secondaires que j'ai pas encore faites du coup. Enfin les... pas quêtes secondaires, les contrats. Je sais plus. Je crois que c'est les contrats. On n'a pas encore fait du coup.
Nice find.
Hop, on va lui rendre ça. Les 10 000 pièces qui font plaisir. On va sauter la règle, voilà.
Hey.
Tac. Alors, on peut rendre direct, ça c'est très bien. En plus, 2 matériaux de qualité, ça fait plaisir. Bon, effet spécial malus, on se doute ce que ça fait. Platine.
Let's come back once we find a key.
This will be interesting.
Là, on peut ouvrir.
Let's see.
Ouh, fragment prismatique, le premier. Et platine. Bon. Alors. Par contre, je peux améliorer l'arme de quelqu'un. Même si je peux pas améliorer la mienne. Après, en vrai, c'est quoi qu'il me faut pour améliorer mon arme? Un écaille de dragon, 3 orbes de vent. Je vais quand même aller voir si je peux pas choper ça. Ah, il y avait un autre truc. Je vais faire attention. Bon, déjà, je vais regarder ces deux-là. Déjà, on va regarder ces deux-là. Non, voilà, ça règle le problème. Du coup, on va aller faire les quêtes secondaires. Ah non, les 2 coffres là-bas en bas. Et puis les quêtes secondaires. Ah, après, peut-être meilleur temps de d'abord passer dans l'autre ville en fait. Parce que s'il y a d'autres quêtes secondaires à prendre, qui se font avec les contrats, en vrai, c'est un peu bête de le faire à double. On va d'abord aller à... Je ne sais plus c'est quoi la ville. Voilà. Alors là, direct, déjà, hop, dès qu'on arrive, une quête secondaire, voilà. Et il y en a une là. Et 2-3 objets à ramasser, comment je monte là-haut? Voilà.
Nice.
Allez, puis rafale, il m'en faut. Hein. Il n'y a rien.
Oh,
Un truc sur lequel je vais cracher.
nice find.
Allez, par là. Ok, nickel, on peut la rendre.
New mission. Easier than eating apples.
What's this?
Alors, est-ce que régénération me rend la vie passivement? Parce que si oui, c'est intéressant. Ouais. Hop. Ah, par contre, hop. Régénération. Restaure automation. C'est pas mal ça. Ah. C'est que les autres trucs, à la limite, j'enlève ça en fait. Parce que je l'avais surtout mis pour la régène de PV, mais si j'ai de la régène de PV passive. Ça me va aussi. Ah, mais ça, je crois que c'est un. Que je ne peux point ouvrir. Ouais. Ok, de platine que je n'ai pas. Ah, tiens, je peux aller là. Il n'y a rien dedans, je pense. Non. C'est l'église quand on s'est réveillé de je ne sais pas quoi. Ah oui, c'est du combat contre Yves. On s'est fait déchirer. Ah oui.
Let's see.
Et qu'on a obtenu notre nouvelle armure, tout le reste. C'était il y a déjà si longtemps, la nostalgie. Faudrait que je... Comment je peux déjà? Ah oui. Bien évidemment. Hâte de choper cette petite clé d'or aussi.
Don't mind if I do.
Enfin la clé de platine qui nous manque.
What's this? Nice find.
C'est vrai que j'ai plus trop fait gaffe à tous les petits crabes là, mais peut-être pas trop. Par contre, ce que je me demande, c'est comment je reviens après sur les anciens mondes.
Come to view the requests.
On va commencer par les épisodes Destins. Je n'ai pas de nouveau, tiens. Ok. Je vais... on va tous les faire en vrai. On va tous les faire. Donc voilà, là ça va être un épisode... Un épisode un peu bonus de nouveau. Est-ce que j'ai envie de tous les... Ouais, bon, on les fait tous. Donc les expérimentations sur Lyria devinrent de plus en plus cruelles, ne cessant d'alimenter la méfiance de Catalina envers l'Empire, prise entre son serment de chevalier envers Erste et la promesse faite à Lyria. Elle décida de fuir l'Empire avec elle. Construire le futur.
Sometime after the commotion at Tempeal, life in Folca began to struggle towards normalcy. The breeze was soft and welcoming.
En vrai, je m'enlève comme ça.
I'd been blind to the city's charms before, focused as I was on rescuing Lyria from the Church of Avia. The sun watched over the victims of Furikin's rage as they raised new homes for themselves from the rubble. But once scars have set in, they are slow to fade. Here and there, the children of Tempeal labored with tools too large for their hands. I offered my aid. The children said their work was their responsibility.
As long as you're sure you'll be okay.
Some distance away, a small boy burst into a red-faced fit. Lyria and I rushed over, hoping to be of help.
Quel goût... Quand même, quel good guy cette Catalina. Ah, un épisode qu'on joue. Alors, je réapparais pour jouer. Hop. Let's go. Peut-être... Je vais mettre un saut quand même. Je pense pas que je dois avoir une... je devrais aller améliorer son arme. Peut-être lui mettre des... Ouais, peut-être lui mettre des compétences quand même. Ouais. Allez, on va aller jusque là. Ça coûte pas bien cher en vrai.
Interesting.
Bon allez, je vais prendre comme ça.
Excellent.
On a au moins ça.
Intriguing.
Ah ouais. Je vais m'arrêter là. Là on va s'arrêter là. 41.
Great.
Voilà, gagner un petit peu de résistance aussi. Ah.
Interesting.
C'est pas mal. Voilà. Du coup, compétences, on va les équiper. Donc on a quoi? Guérison. Donc là c'est à distance qui peut être lancé 2 fois de suite avant de devoir être rechargé. Ok, multi-attaque, étourdissement élevé et fonte rapide. Limite j'enlève celle-là. Après ça dure combien de temps? La question c'est combien de temps ça dure? Parce que si ça dure 1 seconde, ça sert à rien. Là, je préfère prendre la défense. Non, allez, on va garder l'invincibilité. On va y aller comme ça. Yo, ouais, de toute façon, là. Du coup, Charlotte, est-ce qu'elle est plus puissante que Yo? Je pense pas. Hein. Elle est comme ça. Boom.
Don't try and stop me. I have to do this.
He hurled his words like stones as he whipped into a run. Concerned, I asked a nearby man about the boy. He explained that the boy's sister was ill, and the lad was after the remedy, an herb called windcrest. The sickness was assumed to have died out hundreds of years ago, but had now returned to torment the child.
And if that's not enough, I heard the woods where windcrest grows have turned into a monster den.
The boy had struck out alone. Volca had no soldiers to spare, for they were all dispatched to Tempeel for the reconstruction effort. No one was left to answer his pleas, but I would. In my heart, I vowed to bring back the child, and if possible, the herb too. I prayed only that I wasn't too late.
Ce qui me fume, c'est que ces traces, on sait pas dire si c'est des gosses ou des adultes, quoi.
Well, shall we head out?
Ancienne chevaleresse de l'Empire d'Ersté, Catalina se bat pour protéger Lyria. Armée de son épée magique, cette fine lame est capable de s'adapter à toutes les situations. Catalina réalise des combos à l'aide de carré et triangle, appuie rapidement sur triangle pour lancer des attaques qui affectent de vastes zones. Certains combos remplissent la jauge d'Ares. Une fois pleine, Catalina peut invoquer Ares, qui améliore ses compétences, ses combos et son arsenal.
Well, according to that old villager, this is the place we want to be.
Perfect. Keep your eyes peeled for Windcrest.
C'est quoi ça? Ah, c'est
I think I spied some
la
windcrest.
plante.
Earth spirits. Strange. We didn't see any the last time we were here.
Seems like they're attached to the wind. Maybe they can feel its power. Block it out with
Follow me.
Ouais.
I'll protect you.
Trying to steal my thunder? Any
Hop là.
last wishes?
Meet your end! You're mine! It's over!
On va le mettre en lien avant ça, mais visiblement non.
You know it! Attack! Understood!
Cut them down! Heal!
Excellent harvest. I'm in full agreement.
Sure thing.
We'll never back down. I'll finish
200
this.
PLS. Hopla.
Feel the fight! Prepare yourself! Enough of you! I'll finish this!
Je fais pas attention à quel niveau ils sont. Ouais. Enfin, ça, je pense que je prends avec les classes films que j'ai, ça va pas être très compliqué. Ok, 4/6. Ah, on va se retracer un peu quand même. Ou même. Ah, là j'ai Ares qui est disponible. La question c'est comment je l'invoque. Ah bah voilà.
It's over. You're mine.
So that went well.
On to the next.
C'est
You
sûr.
speak the truth.
Yeah, that should be more than enough.
But we still haven't located the boy. What? Where is that coming from?
I don't know, but it can't be a good
Encore
sign.
sur le même monstre ou pas?
Better hurry.
Ah non, un golem.
A golem. So that's what was behind the tremors.
Crap, it spotted us. Get ready for a fight.
You're finished! Perish! Get behind my shield!
Ah ça va, c'est vraiment toi qu'on invoque.
One fell blow! I'll support!
You follow my strikes
I'll
perfectly.
finish
Well, your
this!
fighting style does resemble Vane's after all.
I find you.
Oh.
Such brutality!
I'll get you back on your feet.
Ouais.
This isn't the end. The time is right. Healing light on guard!
Non, parce que Ares ressemble à
I think that when Spirit can cover this archipelago in form,
la créature
some of
originelle
its
du
power
monde.
fused with the land and the monster.
Ah, je me souviens.
Stay with me.
Ouais, c'est...
You have to be careful.
Back into the fray.
Les chiens ils sont dans sablement là.
Feel the fight! I appreciate it. How about them?
There's always
Sans
more
lien.
trouble.
Way ahead of you.
Right. I won't.
Ok, le break dire.
Face your reckoning.
Prepare yourself.
Can I get some of that hurricane juice too? This golem is
Oh là là.
We can't afford to let it run free. Not while that boy remains missing.
On va sortir de toute façon.
I take you.
Un petit star céleste.
On your final
Ah, du coup, je me demande si je vais avoir un truc différent.
Wake in fear.
Là, j'ai plus Captain.
No, we're never. Prepare yourself. Absolute zero.
Ah ouais. Ah. Enfin un truc différent.
Do it again.
What else did you expect?
Devastation. Nothing shall break us. No more. There's
I got
nothing to take the vanguard.
Ok, on va bien. C'est parfait.
Prepare yourself. On guard.
Et voilà. Ok.
Is it safe now?
I recognize that voice. With a final death knell, the golem stilled. The boy crawled out from the tall grass, and I pressed the wind crest into his trembling hand.
Wow! Now I can save my sister! You're the best, lady!
He smiled at me, and with a great burden lifted from his shoulders, skipped the whole way back to Folka. As I watched his happy shuffle, I wished more joy and color into his life of toil, which had been covered by the dust of destruction.
C'est beau. C'est beau, putain. Ah, un nouvel épisode.
Come to view the request?
De nouveau du blabla. Je me renlève.
We made medicine from the wind crest you picked. The doctor said Hazel looks better every day. This morning, she was able to get out of bed and do some drawing. She loves drawing pictures. Thanks again, Catalina. From Al.
And Hazel.
Yes. Please visit Folka when you have a chance.
Bon, je vais pas me remettre à chaque fois vu que là, on va les enchaîner. Après, je pense qu'ils en ont tous genre un. Ah putain, yo, j'ai du retard de ouf en fait. Ah merde. Ah ouais, ah ouais. Ok. Bon. Je sais pas avoir autant de retard sur Io.
Rackham, there you are. I've got huge news. Listen to this.
It was clear from Kent's smile that the repairs on the Nautilus were going smoothly, thanks to a mechanic friend of his. Well, ain't that something? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't impressed. Those parts weren't the easiest to work with. Not bad, Miss Mechanic.
Rackham, sir? Friend told
Et Terlib, merci pour le follow. Bienvenue. Va bien et toi?
Little swagger to him. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Huh. Well, I keep my scruff in an elegant chin strap. Thank you very much. Not sure I sounded very convincing, trying to play off his answer, but I'm a
Comment est-ce que tu vas?
not an actor. But just another performance or two, the Nautilus would be skybound once more.
Alors, hop, bon yo, on va les enchaîner un peu du coup, vu que j'ai du retard.
While out running errands in Folka one day, I came across a crowd of people in the town square. But from the sounds of things, it wasn't a friendly get-together.
I hate you all! Mom, Dad, everybody in this stupid town!
The boy shouted angrily at the adults and took off running, right into me. We both landed on our backsides. Sheesh, watch where you're going, kid. And that's when I noticed the tears streaming down his face. He was clearly upset about something. Hey, you okay? The boy hopped to his feet without a word, shooting me a glare before sprinting away. One of the adults started to follow after him, but...
Please, Doctor, there's not much time.
the crowd stopped him in his tracks.
But I can't just... Well, you're right. My patients need me. Forgive me, Lev.
The man closed his eyes, muttered something to the townspeople, and ran off in the opposite direction. Wait, that kid was crying! You're not gonna go after him? I shouted after the man's back, but he either didn't hear me, or pretended not to. Then I felt a gentle hand on my shoulder.
I'm sure he wants to, sweetheart. You see, that boy is his son.
The boy's name was Lev. His father was a doctor, with many patients needing urgent care, so he had no choice but to ask the townspeople to find a son for him. I knew I should mind my own business. I couldn't get the poor kid's face out of my head. He was probably hiding somewhere all by himself, crying his eyes out. I understood all too well how painful it felt to be alone. When Master Sokka reached out to me, it changed my life forever. Maybe it was my turn to do the same for someone else. I turned to ask the crew if we could join the search, but they were already gearing up to head after him. It seemed we'd all had the same idea. Just you wait, Lev, I thought to myself. I was gonna find him and put a smile back on his face, even if it meant sticking my nose where it didn't belong.
Ok, et on enchaîne sur l'épisode à jouer. Bon, elle est déjà prête, on peut y aller comme ça. Ça apparaît.
The villagers didn't seem too worried about Lev. According to them, he'd have to venture much deeper into the forest before encountering any monsters.
Effacer le temps des
épisodes
Destins.
It seemed like nobody wanted to talk about why he'd run off in the first place. It was an obvious cry for help, and nobody was helping. I went through the same thing back in the day. Even after I met my master, there were times when the loss of my parents was just too much to bear. I didn't go so far as to run from home, but I'd sit alone in the corner of my room, hugging my knees to my chest and crying. Whenever Master Sokka found me like that, he'd always perform a silly magic trick to cheer me up. Just like me, all Lev wanted was for someone to find him, to take his hand, so he went out on his own in the hopes that someone would come for him. I'm sure he knew it was selfish, but it was the only card he felt he had left.
Do you think this means Lev doesn't want to live at home anymore?
I had a feeling that wasn't the case. He's probably just going through a rebellious phase.
Oh, that's when kids start arguing and acting out, right? Catalina told me it's pretty common. Did you have a face like that?
Lyria's question was innocent enough, but I was too embarrassed to admit that I'd ever gone off alone because I wanted someone to pay attention to me. Heck no! That's not something befitting of a grown lady like myself. So what if I told a little lie? Our biggest concern right now was Lev. He was out there, probably crying with his back up against some rough, silent tree. He needed a friend, and I was more than determined to be one for him.
Io est une jeune mage qui aspire à devenir une élégante dame. Elle est douée pour attaquer les ennemis à distance, mais maîtrise aussi la magie curative. Carré permet de lancer une boule de magie tandis que triangle attaque les adversaires dans une vaste zone. L'attaque carré peut être chargée et octroie un orbe de vortex mystique. Le nombre d'orbes détermine à quel point l'attaque triangle peut être chargée. Chargez-la au maximum pour que la vraie magie se produise. Okay.
This forest is as huge as ever. I sure hope Lev's okay.
Come on, we gotta find him, and fast.
Bon, on va voir un peu comment ça donne. Hop.
Wait, we're still on the edge of the forest, right? What are goblins doing here?
Conduction! You're through!
There's no time to waste. We've gotta find him.
Ah, je pense qu'on voit ce que ça donne. Ah ouais. Bizarrement, elle le fait jamais ça. une fois. C'est cool en tout cas. Vraiment utile, vraiment utile. De pouvoir faire des attaques magiques qui touchent le mec. Ah, je peux pas. Ah non, je peux pas. Un peu la galère de l'utiliser. En vrai, je peux enlever son skill de... Come on. Ah. Super. Et quoi, genre aucune protection, rien. Ah, elle veut faire foutre un peu. On ne sert à rien. Et vraiment à rien ces mecs.
Couldn't have done this alone.
I guess so. No matter what dangers lie ahead, we'll be ready.
Vraiment des serre à rien cette team. Enfin, l'IA. Fait juste focus. Là, pas de gros boss pour elle. Ok. Oh, le micro qui tombe. Oh.
We were lucky we found Lev when we did, or he would have been Monster Chow. But before we could talk to him, the town watch came hurrying over.
Lev, your parents are worried sick about you. Come on, let's go home.
Lev looked away, ignoring the old man's outstretched hand. I could imagine how he was feeling, being treated like he was selfish and immature, when all he wanted was someone to sit down and talk to. The man sighed and scratched his head in frustration.
Your mom and dad are fine people. Try being a little more considerate, okay?
Lev immediately bristled at those words, breaking his silence. What do you know? This is all your fault! Knocking the man's hand out of the way, he turned and ran deeper into the forest. It was like watching a scene from my own past, but I wished he'd get a grip already. The deeper he went into the forest, the more likely he was to get attacked. We had to hurry.
Ça fait plaisir par contre. Je pense vraiment l'avoir fait pour le coup. Cet épisode en plus.
Yes, can I help you? We all split up to search for Lev so we could cover more ground. I didn't see any trace of him at first, so I thought I must have gone the wrong way. But then I noticed footprints that looked like someone had slipped over a nearby ledge. And sure enough, when I peeked down, I saw a familiar figure sitting hunched over, knees to his chest. He looked a little scraped up, but didn't seem to be hurt badly. I was just glad I'd managed to find him still in one piece. When I told him I was a Skyfarer, he immediately burst into tears of relief. I could tell he was upset with the villagers about something, and that's why he couldn't be honest with them. But as an outsider, I thought I might have a chance. Watch closely. I'm gonna cast some special magic just for you. It was time for one of my master's patented magic tricks. I showed Lev my empty palm before covering it with a handkerchief. I flung the cloth away, and voila! There was a piece of candy in my hand. Wow, candy! Here, you can have it. After devouring the candy, he finally calmed down. Thanks. Normally, that would have been enough to lift any kid's spirits. But his face fell again as quickly as it had lit up. I guess he really doesn't want to go home. I decided I wouldn't leave him until there was a smile back on his face.
Les stats en plus qui font plaisir. Ah, un nouvel épisode. Ah bah je peux presque finir avec elle en fait. Nice.
While we were still deep in the woods, I decided to ask Lev up front. Why did you run away? He hesitated at first, but after seeing that I was serious, he started to open up.
My mom and dad used to work as doctors in Tempe.
Back then, all had been well with their family. But when Furikin went berserk, they lost their home and ended up moving to Folka. And that was when things started to fall apart. His parents began to spend all of their time tending to patients who were affected by the disaster, with hardly a moment's rest. Lev watched as his mom got paler and the black circles under her eyes grew darker and darker. He begged her to take a break, but it was no use. Eventually, she collapsed from overwork.
I told her she wouldn't be able to help people anymore if she got sick. She just wouldn't listen to me.
And here I thought he was just a kid going through a rebellious phase. That wasn't the case at all. That's really grown up of you, Lev. You're just worried about your mom and dad, huh?
Yeah.
After hearing Lev's explanation, I finally understood how he felt. I knew how hard it was watching people you cared about pushing themselves too hard. I couldn't stand to see my master doing it either. And that's exactly what was going through Lev's mind. He wasn't being selfish. Everything he did, it was because he loved his parents.
Le pauvre petit.
If it were me in his shoes, I'm sure I'd be worried sick about my parents too. There's nothing wrong with worrying about your parents. I'm sure they're proud to have a son who cares so much.
But
what? Something was still on his mind.
I always wanted to be a great doctor, just like my mom and dad. After my mom collapsed, I started thinking maybe everybody else was just using them.
Along the way, he'd stopped being able to trust the people of Folka, and he thought feeling that way meant he could never follow in his parents' footsteps. Lev stared at the ground as he spoke, finally confiding his troubles to me. After hearing his story, I began to open up about my own parents. He listened to my words in silence. My parents had also strained themselves too hard after getting sick, and eventually passed away. So Lev's circumstances were all too familiar. Just like him, I felt nothing but bitterness and despair. There was one difference. I've got to admit, I envy you a little. After all, your mom and dad are still alive and well. While we were standing there talking, Lev's parents and the villagers were probably beside themselves with worry, braving the dangers of the forest to search for him. When I told him that, Lev finally seemed to grasp the situation.
I really messed up, didn't I? I'm sorry.
Are you sure I'm the person you should be saying that to? I stood up and smiled at Lev. He and his family all seemed like really good people. The only thing they needed to patch their home back together was a long heart-to-heart.
Nouvel épisode à jouer. Ah. Ah oui. Ok. Je crois qu'on en a plus très loin. Alors, du coup, pour Eugen, l'ami décédé de Karzeda adorait les fleurs et son rêve était de les faire éclore dans le sol stérile de Tempera. Karzeda demande à Eugen de chercher ses outils de jardinage dans les mines. Les mines ont été envahies par des gobelins, mais ce n'est rien pour l'équipage. Il trouve les outils et les rend à Karzeda.
Just as we arrived at the cemetery, the clouds opened up, unleashing a torrent of rain. Blue sky was gone, painted over by a steely, unforgiving gray. Looking around, I saw that there were others paying their respects at different plots. Like Karzeda, they probably lost loved ones to the storm. As soon as he laid eyes on the mound of earth in front of him, the dam broke. Karzeda's shoulders heaved with his sobs.
Why did I say those awful things? There were so many more important things I wanted to tell you, but I...
He sank to his knees, crippled with grief. His fist beat at the earth, sending drops of muddy water splashing onto his face.
I didn't want that to be our last conversation. If I hadn't blown up, if we hadn't fought, I only wanted to see you smile. I made you cry.
All I could do was watch over Karzeda as he poured out the feelings he'd held back for so long. Let it out, son. It's the only way to get through it.
Épisode suivant.
Each word struck me like a blow, reminding me of my own failures.
How am I supposed to live with this regret? It's like the storm outside, pounding on me until I give in and let it sweep me away.
I mulled over his question for a while before opening my mouth. I'm not the right person to answer that. Only your friend knows.
But how? She's...
So I told Karzeda about my wife, and about the agony of losing her. All the things I'd hoped for, things we could do as a family, were no longer possible. The chasm of remorse threatened to swallow me whole. I couldn't imagine things getting better. Not then, not ever. But I was still alive. Unlike my wife, I still had a future. Didn't that obligate me to move forward, to find meaning in being left behind, and try to fulfill what she wanted for me? Didn't that apply to Karzeda? You want me to go with you? To find that flower, I mean? Maybe finding it would give him the answers he needed.
Cette fois. Bon. Ah, du coup, elle non plus, je peux pas pouvoir y aller, je crois.
During our stay in Seed Hollow, a certain request made its way into our hands. We were to inspect sightings of a mysterious young girl near the Seed Hollow Castle.
You don't she's a ghost, do you?
I put a hand on Lyria's shoulder to comfort her and asked the client for more details. According to reports, the young girl appeared to be looking for something. Workers helping with the castle's restoration effort would attempt to approach her, but she would vanish before they could get close. Each sighting would spook another handful of builders until there weren't enough hands to complete repairs. By all accounts, it seemed to be a ghost. Of course, I couldn't admit that to Lyria. It was not uncommon for spirits to take refuge in ancient ruins or castles and play tricks on any unfortunate souls passing by. They were almost never malicious, even friendly sometimes. However, we couldn't take our chances. I just wished we had more information to work with. There was something familiar about this story. I just couldn't quite put my finger on it.
Ah. Ah oui. Alors ça avance lentement. En route pour le village qui vend le tonifiant de croissance, Charlotte rencontre un capitaine et son équipage. Il l'aide à obtenir le tonifiant qui s'avère inefficace. Les rêves de Charlotte sont brisés, mais quand elle apprend que l'équipage se dirige à Estalucien, elle est prise d'un nouvel espoir. La capitaine des Chevaliers Sacrés se joint alors à Gran et à son équipage.
One day, when I was visiting Seed Hollow on business, I espied a young man crouched in a corner of the central plaza. There was no mistaking his mussed hair, a style rebellious youth call the Mohawk, and surly face. Here was Sir Soupstock, helmsman of the family Zathba. Is something the matter? The lad met my inquiry with a scowl.
The hell are you looking at? Beat it, kid. Wait. Zach? You were part of that crew?
Assured of my goodwill, Sir Soupstock unfolded his troubles. Whilst making his usual rounds squaring away accounts, the lad had met with some resistance. One of their clients, a nobleman disdainful of Sir Soupstock's low birth and tender age, had refused to pay.
I'm an officer too, you know. Got my own grunts working under me. Good people. We're dealing with the real frilly-pants, blue-blooded noble here. Any attempt to rough him up, straight to the slammer.
Was a treacherous path, Sir Soupstock added. A single misstep, and it was his reputation in the mud. Hearing this, my heart went out to him, for I knew what it was like to feel green and small, with judging eyes upon me. I offered him my aid.
I appreciate the thought, but no offense. You look like a kid. If I bring you on my rounds, they're gonna change my name from Soupstock to Laughingstock.
At that moment, a servant arrived, bearing a message from the nobleman in question. It read, "I've decided to pay. Meet me at the following location." This whole affair was starting to smell ranker than a goblin's breath. He could just as easily have sent money with the servant. Why go through the trouble of arranging yet another meeting? There was mischief afoot, and I resolved to accompany Sir Soupstock to stop it in its tracks.
En vrai, pour avoir joué IO, je me dis vraiment que Charlotte est mieux en fait. Elle est mieux parce qu'elle a pas besoin de charger quoi que ce soit en fait. Je me dis à ce prix-là. Prix-là, autant jouer Charlotte quoi.
Ah, the wind. Riding aboard the Grand Cipher, soaring across yet another cloud bank, I felt a pang of envy. The wind goes where it pleases, and it arrives when it may, a quality I have long sought to adapt to my fighting style. Here I stood in comparison, shackled to my duties as captain of a knightly order. Oft have I imagined the brighter futures I might have discovered, if only I were faster, more like the gale. Had I risen like a storm front, I could have prevented wars. Had I rushed like a squall, I could have circumvented tragedy. But as the wind continues flowing forward, so too does the passage of time. Idle ponderings would change nothing. I had exchanged my freedom for the greater good. Quietly, I repeated a promise I made long ago. Henceforth, I shall endeavor to combat adversity, so much as I can, for as long as I live. Happily, this hasn't been a hard course to follow, for it runs parallel to the path of the crew, gracious hosts and, on occasion, lively companions.
I want you to broaden your horizons for the betterment of our kingdom.
I now see the wisdom and kindness behind King Carl's decree. For it was my journey aboard the Grand Cipher that taught me how to cast control to the winds, to ride unbound and at the mercy of the gales. When I was a boy, my best friend's parents were killed by wyverns. After witnessing the depth of his grief, I decided I would become a knight. I would protect the kingdom from monsters and the tragedies they wrought. But there was one massive wall standing between me and my goal. It was not aptitude, for I had some talent with the sword, but the station of my birth. At that time, Fiendrock was a kingdom run by its aristocracy. Commoners were restricted to a life of labor, and the knightly orders were composed entirely of noble houses. Immediately I was rejected, told that I could offer my sweat to the crown, but not my blood, for it lacked the proper lineage. I was not deterred. Who was to say that our stone-walled villages could not breed warriors as well as our gold-gilded courts? I studied, I trained, and I worked harder than any man had ever worked to become a knight. In the end, my efforts bore fruit. Siegfried, who at the time was still in the service of the king, understood my plight and changed the course of history. He allowed me into the order of Black Dragon Knights. But uneasy rests the commoner with new acquired titles. The nobility would only be too eager to dismiss me over the slightest misstep and prevent the chivalrous orders from being contaminated by peasant filth. I could not fail. The weight of my people and the future of the kingdom spurred me. I had to become the perfect knight. My ascension was not easy. If given a choice, I might have chosen a different path. But when I had at last emerged from the crucible of trial and tragedy, I was a changed man. I was the captain of the White Dragon Knights.
Il en a des choses à dire, Lancelot. Alors, il parle quoi.
My mentor, Siegfried, was captain of the Black Dragon Knights. He once saved the kingdom by killing the dreaded dragon, Fafnir, and vouched for me when no other would. So when my friend and counselor was convicted of regicide, I felt betrayed. Siegfried's downfall thrust upon me the leadership of the newly dubbed White Dragon Knights, and I swore to bend all my power toward bringing him to justice. In hindsight, this anger was misplaced, foolish. There was no reason for Siegfried to assassinate the king. I should have deduced Royal Consul Isabella's hidden coup, long before turning on a man whom I knew to be steadfast and honorable. My mind trembled under the pressure of newfound responsibility. It howled and grieved for the loss of a beloved king. I know that this amounts to no more than an excuse. It was my flash judgment that drove me away from Siegfried when he needed me most. Had I been left to my own devices, conspiracy may have never been brought to light. But I had Vane and Percival at my side, and, though hunted by all the country, Siegfried himself infiltrated Isabella's cabal and alerted me to their treachery. I may owe the biggest debt, however, to the Skyfaring Captain, whose aid was instrumental in restoring peace to Fiendrock. After the dust had settled, His Majesty King Carl decreed that I explore other countries so I could gain experience befitting my new station. Thus, I became another crewmate aboard the Grand Cipher. Since then, I have visited various lands. I have seen myriad peoples and their responses to numerous threats. I have learned many things and gained many new teachers, and as they have given freely to me, someday I hope to give back to them. But there are yet countless leagues to travel, so on I sail across the skies, seeking the strength and wisdom necessary for a true leader. Zega Grande Skydom. How much time had passed since our arrival here? With our battles against the Church of Avia and the pacification of many primals, it certainly felt like a lifetime. But now that things were a little quieter, we were content to return to our usual bread and butter, satisfying requests from locals. Though the crew was accustomed to quests of all sorts, one day, there came a demand that left us puzzled.
Sorry for the confusion, folks. This request isn't for the whole crew. It's an escort mission for Lancelot, specifically.
Me? But why? There were few in this Skydom who had even heard of my name. Curious, I asked about Hans, the man who had posted the quest.
Oh, you don't know him? Seems like he was real familiar with you. Anyways, he's a partner for the Lord of Crossguard.
I hesitated. There was nothing I could do that another crewmate couldn't accomplish just as well. Acknowledging a specific request for me felt discourteous in a way.
You're not at your fancy-ass court anymore, okay? On our ship, you don't have to worry about rubbing anyone's ego the wrong way. If you're interested in the job, just take it.
Though he may not have been tactful, Eugen was, as ever, a fount of wisdom. Very well, then. I shall hear what this Hans has to say.
It is a pleasure to meet you. I am Hans, butler to his lordship.
The next day, an elderly man ambled onto the Grand Cipher, leaning heavily on his cane. But looking into his eyes, I sensed deep wisdom and a sharp mind. The pleasure is mine. I am Lancelot, a Skyfarer. Forgive me for not accepting your request at once, but I would like more details before returning an answer.
Yes, well, his lordship Ludwin is in need of an escort.
Hans explained. Ludwin was a lord of Grossgard, and he was looking for a mythical sword passed down through his family for generations. So far, his search had led them to a snowy peak, but nearby monsters made the trip too dangerous to risk without protection. Does your lord not employ a personal guard?
He does, but as this quest is for personal gain, he believes that commanding their service would be an abuse of power. However, the Lords of Grossgard have never been gifted in the martial arts. So if we head to the mountains without a decent sword arm, tragedy will surely befall us.
But what led you to seek my sword arm specifically?
Well, we knew we needed a highly experienced Skyfarer. The mission is dangerous, far too dangerous for any amateur. But perhaps more importantly, his lordship is quite the fan of yours, Sir Lancelot.
A fan? My voice cracked in surprise.
Yes, you are known as a knight exemplar, talented in both combat and scholarship. How fortunate that this very same Lancelot would come to our land and proffer his services.
Whatever accounts you've heard of me were surely exaggerated.
And so humble. Lord Ludwin will be overjoyed when he hears that we've secured your aid. The Honorable Sir Lancelot to protect us. What could be better? So, will you accept?
Though this idolatry did not sit well with me, I could see no reason to refuse. From what I'd heard, Ludwin seemed an honorable man. Besides, there was much a Lord of Viscaidum could teach me. Very well. On behalf of our crew, I accept your request.
Ok, on va enfin pouvoir jouer. Et on est solo. Bon, j'ai pas besoin de l'équiper, il est déjà solo.
Hans and Ludwin were waiting for me at the foot of Mount Nagelith.
It is an honor and a privilege to meet you, Sir Lancelot of Fiendrock. Hans has probably already told you who I am, but allow me to formally introduce myself. I am Ludwin, Lord Protector of Grossgard.
Though his aura was imposing and befitting of a lord, he also felt courteous and down to earth. The honor is mine. Though I am now no more than a skyfarer, I swear to protect you and yours with my life, should it come to it.
Well, whatever your title, I am glad to have your aid.
Ludwin was beaming. Hans had told me of his excessive devotion, but it was another thing seeing it in person. I suddenly felt I wasn't quite sure how to conduct myself. Right. So you believe a family heirloom is hidden among these peaks?
Not the sword itself, but the first of a series of trials that shall reveal the blade in due time.
I see. And what is the first trial?
There's a record somewhere around here which should detail the whereabouts of the sword. A little game of my family's, if you will. But on second thought, perhaps a great knight such as yourself has nobler things to do than this frivolous treasure hunt in the snow. Yes, perhaps we had better call it...
My lord.
Hans was stern, more mentor than butler.
The ancestral trials are not frivolous. Each one holds an important meaning. Those same challenges taught your father how to reign. Skies rest his soul.
Yes, you're quite right. Forgive me, Hans. So, with that settled, I shall count on you, Sir Lancelot, to provide the muscle. For as you may know, I am sadly little more than a statesman.
I am yours to command. With that, I unsheathed my twin blades and started our quest.
Enfin!
The white dragon unfurls its wings.
Tu parles trop, Lancelot.
I'll go on ahead and make sure the path is secure. For your own safety, try not to stray.
Oh, do let me know if I can be of assistance.
My lord, let's leave the fighting to the professionals, shall we?
Oh, yes, of course. Well then, Sir Lancelot, do what you do best.
C'est bizarre, non? Comme s'il avait envie de faire ça.
The bridge is down! Now what will we do?
Let's search for another path. This mountain is vast. I doubt this is
That looks like a way forward.
The footing seems a bit treacherous. Please watch your...
C'est carré au fond que je vais maintenir. Ah non, c'était comme carré, ouais. Du coup, on est d'accord que je vais pas. Je peux le voir. Ah, c'est ça, combo renforcé.
Away with you! God! Monsters! Stay behind me! I'll deal with this! What? Once more! Too slow! Give it! Stay focused! I think that was the last of the monsters. What a glorious form, Sir Lancelot! Anything, pleasure to watch you work!
Ah, je peux pas maintenant rentrer, je peux juste pas me
Away with you! Give it! Why don't
On va quand même pas rater les petits objets. Moi je vais en haut. Ah oui c'est là mais... Non je vais là. Ah pardon. Peut-être le moment où c'est les spells.
Lots of these ranged pop doodles. Do be careful, Sir Lancelot. Don't worry. I'll close that distance in a heartbeat. Away with you! Fall! You won't prevail!
Les compétences que je lui avais mis. Bourriner, ça suffit.
Is this a dead end? No. Look! A chest! Wait, this monster. Get behind me! A giant eyeball! I think I've read about this monster! Nazir Bonju! Correct. Our crew has faced it once before. Ah, let's go! Daring do, brave Lancelot! Keep your eyes trained on them! Terrifying beast! A single glance and I feel frozen solid! We'll see which is colder. Its gaze or my frost.
Ah, il fait vraiment malin par contre.
I believe we're safe now.
On va aller chercher le coffre.
One blade for truth, one for honor. Impressive! The Twin Fang prodigy does not disappoint.
Thank you, my lord. I hadn't done much during our climb, so the praise caught me unawares. Shall we check this chest? It could contain the record you seek.
Yes? Let's see what she's holding.
The young lord opened the box. A rather dry affair, as we already knew what to expect.
And here it is!
In his hands, he held a flaking tome, its pages warped and yellowed by age.
This takes me back. Once upon a winter, I sought out that very book with Ludwin's father.
And now it's been passed to me. But this...
As Ludwin flitted through the pages, his face twisted into expressions of greater and greater perplexity.
I can't read this at all. Is this some sort of code?
I suppressed the urge to take a glance myself. My duty was to protect, not translate. In the end, it was Hans who broke the silence.
If it pleases his lordship, shall I offer a hint?
Ludwin shook his head.
No, this is a trial that I must conquer myself. And on that note, I believe you are dismissed, Sir Lancelot. I thank you for your services today, and payment will be made forthwith.
Understood. If ever you need my help again, do not hesitate to call. Thus, my private escort mission ended without much fanfare. And yet, I had a feeling that our paths would cross once again. At least, I hoped that they would. There was something about Ludwin. His earnestness, perhaps, and his love for his comrades that resonated with me.
Let's go!
Come to view the request.
Et puisqu'on adore l'entendre parler... Non, par contre, vraiment, c'est hallucinant comment il fait que parler. Oh, et on en a encore deux. Let's go.
My premonition proved correct.
His lordship finds himself in need of your assistance once more.
Hans's voice was almost apologetic. What troubles him?
You remember the record we found on our previous trek, don't you?
I nodded. The Lord of Grossgard was searching for a family heirloom, and this record detailed its whereabouts. However, the directions were written in code, which Ludwin had yet to decipher.
He told me, and I quote, "Hans, don't you dare bother the charming and brave Lancelot over a mere trifle. But he hasn't made any headway on his own, and I've no doubt he's secretly yearning for your aid."
I looked at the butler with some confusion. Hans, I recall you saying you'd already completed the trial with Ludwin's father.
Indeed.
Then your assistance would be far more valuable than mine.
Come now, it is a butler's duty to serve his liege's best interests, and Lord Ludwin's shall be best served with my silence.
I suppose Ludwin would never grow if Hans simply led him to the answers. Better that we pieced out the puzzle together. Very well. I accept your request.
I thank you on behalf of his lordship.
Now I was beginning to grasp at the deeper meaning behind these tests.
Ah, plus qu'un, et c'est fini. Ah. Ah non. Ah mais... Je crois que c'était... Non, je suis mal. Ok. Allez. Le dernier, et après c'est fini. Pour le moment.
Curious about the girl and her garden, I headed once more toward the forest on the outskirts of Folka.
I never had a chance to thank you for the other day.
Though she was more lively than before, her spirit was clearly drained.
I guess it feels wrong to call you Mr. Reaper now.
The name's Vasaraga.
The girl introduced herself as Irene. As she spoke, I noticed her wrist was wrapped in a bandage. I asked if she was injured, but this caused her to grimace.
Oh, this? It's fine. I just, cut myself is all.
In a thinly veiled attempt to change the subject, Irene offered me some juice made from homegrown fruit.
This is the least I can do to thank you. Do you want to drink some together?
Apple. Not bad. We sat at her table and began to chat. She told me that she hailed from Grossgard, a small region near Seed Hollow. Having just moved to Folka, she was still a new face to the locals. Do you take care of the garden by yourself?
Yes.
Hence. Holding in on herself like a withering flower, she became the complete opposite of the girl I watched happily watering her plants. But it was not her forlorn expression that gripped me. It was the mist. Ever her formless companion, a swirling miasma seemed just beyond her perception. There were far worse things in the skies than a little smoke, but I knew this was more than it seemed. Mind if I stop by again? I could visit between requests. I wanted to help her, but not out of a misguided sense of obligation. I just wanted to make sure she never forgot what it was like to smile.
C'est fini les épisodes Destins. Let's go.